But there's volume 2, which is the New Age newspaper, and now the report finding that state-owned entity contracts with the Gupta-owned New Age newspaper were unlawful. That's one of these findings, of course, in this voluminous report, revealing state capture flourished at state-owned enterprises and government departments, with senior officials breaking the law. It also reveals that former SARS Commissioner Tom Moyane and former President Jacob Gedleyihlekisa Zuma played crucial roles in capturing the revenue service. By the way, that is volume 3 of part 1. But the man who's been tracking things and really unpacking some of this is my colleague, the senior reporter at eNCA, Aviwe Mtila. Aviwe, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Okay, well, the report, I understand, talks about the New Age media as an example of how state capture operated. Can you share some details about this?
Certainly, Bradan, it talks about unjustified public spending between state-owned entities, namely Eskom, your Transnet, and the South African Airways, and the TNA Media, which is Gupta-owned. You do understand that TNA Media owns the New Age newspaper, which also ran the breakfast show at the SABC between 2011 and 2017. You do understand there a lot of money was channeled from the state-owned entities towards this particular Gupta company. Money for advertisement as well as money for funding that SABC Big Breakfast, the New Age Big Breakfast. We do also understand it does not stop there. The GCIS also, its budget, yearly budget, 600 million rand, some of it was channeled towards TNA Media. And of course, those that stood in the way of that were dealt with quite speedily. One example would be the former CEO of the GCIS, Themba Maseko, who, after refusing to actually cooperate with the Guptas back in 2010 in December there, he was quickly dealt with and fired within a month or so at the end of January, and replaced by Mzwanele Manyi, who we do understand is named in the report as one of the facilitators that allowed all this rot and corruption to take place. In fact, where the channeling of this money essentially happened. It doesn't end there, Bradan. It looks at the South African Revenue Services that was not spared the brunt of state capture itself. We do understand there that private companies colluded with some of the executives at SARS, including former President Jacob Zuma, to basically capture SARS and render it ineffective. We do understand that even the appointment of the commissioner there, Tom Moyane, raised a number of eyebrows as the former president, Jacob Zuma, announced his appointment way before it was actually officiated and official. Not only there, company Bain & Co., the consultancy agency, also mentioned in the report there as having to raise eyebrows in terms of how they were contracted. We do understand former President Jacob Zuma and the Commissioner of SARS, Tom Moyane, met up with Bain & Co. Way before they were actually given a contract, and even it was clear in those discussions that they would eventually receive that tender. Basically, some of the revelations that we've come to be aware of in that part 1 of that report, which basically paints out a picture of how the state was captured. In fact, I went out to the streets in Africa's Golden Square Mile, Sandton, just basically speaking to the people on the ground to find out their sentiments around what should happen now. Do they believe that government has teeth? And this is their response.
They won't arrest them. It's just, I don't know if I can say they're just wasting our tax money. I don't know. But no, they won't arrest them. It's just wasting our time for nothing.
Normally it just dies and nobody says anything afterwards. So we really do hope that something will happen to the people who's responsible for it.
Come on, this is the South African government, and how we live in this world is full of corruption. So why would there be accountability and responsibility taken when there's no one, when there is problems? Do you know what I mean? There's no one to look at, there's no one to point at. So yeah, I mean, do we expect differently though?
There's been so many cases where they've taken money and stolen money and whatever the case may be, and nothing's really happened, no reprimand, nothing, So yes, they've done well because they've shown people what's actually happened, but I don't necessarily think that people are going to get a slap on the hand.
They don't have a heart for this nation, to tell you the truth. If they did, they would have sorted it out a long time ago. There's a lot of things on crime they could have sorted out, but they haven't. So the state capture is another one that shows that they're not hard on certain issues that are of utter importance for this nation to move forward.
Yeah, certainly the organs of states are starting to to come right. I think most of the organs of states are being rebuilt, if I may put it that way. So yeah, I think it will start to turn around. I've got trust in Cyril and the people that have been appointed in those organs of states.
Yeah, I don't see. There's no such a thing as justice. You know, if there was justice, everybody would be in jail by now. So it's just, well, just keeping people busy. That's all. News and stuff.
Mixed reaction there on the ground, Aviwe, regarding that, but also on the whole issue of possibility of arrest. Some people seem to be defeated about this. Do they think the commission, though, was worth it?
There's a bit more optimism when it comes to the actual commission itself and whether it was worthy or not. A bit more positive reactions when it comes to that front. You do understand that on the 9th of January, it marks exactly 4 years since the announcement of the commission. A lot of work has been done then since it was basically established some 3 years ago. We do understand a lot of money spent, around R1 billion spent there, and we're expecting acting Chief Justice Raymond Zondo to finalize and hand over the final report on the 28th of February. But the people think that as much as they, on the downside, whether it will affect any arrest, they think it was a big lesson, a big wake-up call for the country in terms of accountability and just instilling fear in a lot of people, knowing that there might be repercussions for the actions that people do behind closed doors. And those voices that I got once more in the people on the ground. Let's take a listen to that.
I think it's worth it because people deserve the right to know what's happening, but whether there's going to be any implication, it's a different discussion.
People could, you could use Marikana as another example. Same thing, years, money, effort, people. What happened? Nothing.
I think it was all worth it. South Africans deserve to know what is happening behind the scenes, who's been taking money out of our coffers and so forth. So it was well worth it. I mean, I think Zondo Commission did a great job. Zondo himself did a great job. Although there was a lot of things they wanted to tarnish his name and so forth, but I think he stood his ground and did very well.
Well, if someone actually looks at it and gives attention to it, yes. But for now, no. I mean, I think we just, at this point in time, we're just overexpanded in South Africa. We've got too many things going on, too many loopholes, too many things that's not being closed down and looked after.
I think it was worth it. And I think more than anything else as a deterrent. You know, I think a lot of people now are more, you know, aware of what happened and are more concerned about the possible repercussions, you know, something might happen to them. So I think from that point of view, you know, I think it is a good, it's something that we have to go through.
The actions will prove whether it's been worth it or not. If they take action, then it would be worth it.
Some of the views on the streets in and around Sandton earlier today, captured by eNCA senior reporter Aviwe Mtila.